Hello and welcome to WRX. My name is Weiss, and today we're going to be talking about something that is not super great, but even though you know my channel to be a WRX channel, I do try to be as objective as I can about other vehicles that are not WRXs. Now, in this one, as you saw by the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the Elantra N because Car and Driver just released their 2025 lightning lap, and not great. I have made videos in the past talking about the differences between the Elantra N and the WRX, and there's a lot that Hyundai is doing to really position the Elantra N for a hardcore performance enthusiast buyer, and they're doing a fantastic job of it. Something that Subaru just on paper, especially, cannot compete with. Now, when we look at these lightning laps and even compare it to 2023, where they did this again with the WRX and the Elantra N, even on the track, it cannot really compete. Now, they did this on VIR, which is a very technical track. It's like 4.1 miles. It's very large. There's a lot going on there. And WRX, even though we have the new TR with bigger brakes and better suspension, just cannot keep up with an Elantra. And so there's a couple of things I want to talk about. I actually want to look at the articles themselves. And I want to look at exactly what makes the Elantra N still just so damn good compared to the WRX. And we're going to look at pricing because that is still a factor. And these days, it's actually a pretty big factor considering Subaru WRX's prices have gone up. And so far, Hyundai Elantra prices have not. And that's, if you're a price shopper, maybe the number one reason why you go with one or the other. So we so I'm going to start by looking at the 2025 results, and this is with a WRX TS. So we've got the Brembos, we have the better steering, we have the stiffer chassis in the rear, we have the stiffer suspension and the adjustable suspension. And still, this year we made 10, oh, I'm sorry, 10 minutes, 3 minutes and 10 seconds on a WRX TS. I can scroll down to the Elantra N, 3 minutes and 6 seconds. It is still 4 seconds faster. Now, if we go and look at 2023, the last time they did a non-TS WRX, which I think it was just a premium, so at least the weight wasn't as high, made 311. So we only shaved off about a second off of the time, and the Elantra N still came in at 307. Now, this in 2023, when they did this, they did have a whole thing where they didn't have brand new tires. They actually had to use used tires. So still, with used tires, it's still a fantastic time. Now, there are a couple of other articles or outlets that have done some races, like Edmunds does this U-Drags, which is, it may not be the best, but I really like it, but it's because it's like what a general person in the field would actually be able to achieve with these, and still the Elantra N is faster. Now, this is with launching a WRX off the line. It's down on a lot of things. It's down on power, it's down on handling, and if we keep going, I've watched obviously Sam Carlegion's videos a ton, and still same thing. WRX just can keep up with the Elantra. Even in this particular video, the Elantra N is kind of behind, and it eventually just overtakes the WRX. And if we keep going to, I'm going to point out my good buddy Polish Bullets YouTube channel here. If you actually are interested in Elantra, I would suggest checking his channel. It's very good. He does a lot of stuff with the Elantra N. This is his Elantra N, completely stock with the N-Grin shift or whatever fancy thing that they do with the octane learning. Stock, this car made 284 horsepower to the wheels, right? That's a lot of power. Now, if I go back and show you what my car made on the dyno, completely stock, 93, both these cars 93, 268. So already almost 15 to 20 horsepower above and a decent amount of torque because I only made 267 and his stock Elantra made 287. So up in horsepower, up in torque, in a straight line, that is the number that is going to make a difference. Both of these cars weigh relatively about the same weight, especially the manual. I think the Elantra is like 3208 and the WRX is like 3280, so not that much different there. But there's a lot about the Elantra that Hyundai has shoved in this car that the WRX just have never had and probably never will. Starting with a really basic something that helps on the track is they do have an electronically controlled limited slip differential. We have open diff front and rear. That alone is a really big deal. They have a lot of really cool things, which actually I never really looked at this in the past, but um, they have the electronically controlled suspension, which is great. TS finally got that. I haven't really made a difference, as you guys can tell. Things like ELSD. A couple other things that they have is they have the rear stiff bar, which is cool. We can get that as well. But this is really interesting. Integrated drive axle, which I was not familiar with this. I actually had to look this up. And what's cool about this is they actually, instead of it being just an axle and then going into the wheel bearing and everything being separate, they designed this to be basically one long unit with the wheel bearing directly into the axle, uh, reducing the extra weight that's in there, and that's kind of cool. Something I'm not familiar with. They have a couple other things here. We got a 4-point strut ring, which I don't know how much that really helps. But other things like they they have actually an air guide for air going over the brakes. We don't have anything. Well, we have the ducting in the bumper, but I don't know how much of that is actually benefiting us in the braking department. Considerably larger brakes, almost 14.5-inch brakes in the front, which is fantastic. But I mean, these things combined are really what's making this car just that much better. And you guys know as well as I do, this WRX doesn't come with anything really cool. I mean, yeah, we get a turbo, yeah, we get a manual. That's about it. Really nothing fancy other than the chassis itself. And Subaru's really leaning on the chassis alone to make up for all of the other shortcomings. And when they do tests like this on the track, it is very apparent that we just can't keep up. Now, all of that stuff aside, let's say you're in the market, you don't know which one to buy. You got maybe $35,000 to spend, or however much money, or whatever your budget is. I was actually looking at nationwide Elantra N's right now. You can go to Oklahoma and get a brand new 2025 Elantra N 6-speed for $30,000. If you are in the market, I would suggest calling this place and picking this up right now. Whereas nationwide, you can still get a 24 WRX for 31, but if you look at the 25s, the prices back up to 35 to 36. And I'm in Texas right now. I was actually looking at neighborhood Texas dealerships, and all the dealerships in Texas alone were at like starting for a premium at 39. So it still kind of depends on the location that you're looking for, um, what you're going to buy or what the prices are you're going to have. But that's kind of price difference is pretty wild. Now there are a couple of things to factor in. Actually, there's really only one thing to factor in is do you need all-wheel drive or are you okay without it? Many places in America you can go with just front-wheel drive car. And I know you're thinking, well, front-wheel drive cars are not really performance cars, but clearly Hyundai has shown that you can do it, much like how Honda has shown that you most definitely can take a front-wheel drive and make it not feel like a front-wheel drive. Many people that have an Elantra N have reported very little torque steer. I've never driven one, so I can't say exactly. I've definitely never driven one on a track, so I have no experience with that. Um, Both Elantra N and WRX do come with manuals, but the Elantra also has the option of a wet DSG. So for those who want to go do some drag racing and would prefer that, that's an option. Now, I don't know what the maintenance for these cars look like, or what what are the pain points in an Elantra N if you bought something new, but I haven't really heard like a bunch of them blowing up or anything weird happening, and they have great tuning potential and they have a pretty decent-ish aftermarket. So when it comes to modding, you still have a car that can do a lot. And hell, if you're going to keep either one stock, the Elantra N is already beating a WRX left and right. So it's pretty crazy. And I know in a world where somebody says to you, go buy a Hyundai if you want something performance, is not a world that I would have expected, because growing up, Kias and Hyundais usually were the throwaway cars, or the cars that weren't really great. For them to build something like this is pretty amazing. They have other cars too, like the Kona N and like the EVs, that are also incredibly fast, but now we're getting into a whole other realm. But if you're looking for a 6-speed turbo sedan, it's getting Subaru is making it harder and harder to recommend a WRX over anything else. And with this Lightning Lap coming out, as somebody who likes to race my car, that kind of sucks. Even with some changes that Subaru is making, clearly it's not enough. But you guys tell me down in the comments below. Are you still picking a WRX? Is the Hyundai Elantra looking like more of a value for your money? It's a pretty crazy climate, and I'm wondering if some of the other car prices are actually going to go up. Well, but it really doesn't seem like it is right now. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.